Welcome to Roald Kala Facilitation. I am Roald, and today we are going to talk about integration. Any facilitator, shaman, or psychonaut worth his acid will tell you that integration is one of the most important parts of any psychedelic experience. But what the fuck is integration? In this video, I will answer that question as well as give you directions on what you can do for your own integration journey. Lastly, if you stick around, I will dive into some of the nuances that I've encountered and give some insights on how to deal with these. A psychedelic experience often offers us many new perspectives and insights into our lives. It helps us see what to do. Now, as someone with a history of life coaching, I can tell you that most people already know what to do. Most often, either trauma is blocking them from making that move, or they're simply not inspired to do it. The psychedelic experience often offers us both the inspiration and the confrontation with the blockages necessary in order to take those next steps. That's why psychedelics are such a powerful self-development tool. Put very simply, the integration part is the inspired action and contemplation needed to make that experience a concrete life improvement. Integration is doing the work. You wouldn't guess that the answer is this simple by the many podcasts and videos I've watched where most often I still didn't find this simple answer. I do, however, understand why they had a hard time giving a simple answer. And it's mostly because if you take the advice of doing the work and just run with it, you're unlikely to actually do this correctly. You see, most often what that work isn't immediately obvious to us. And we need to sit, meditate, and journal on the experience for some time in order to fully put all the messages in perspective and get a clear picture of what that changes for us in our daily lives. And if you do think that it is immediately obvious what you need to do, either you didn't analyze your experience enough, or you didn't take enough of the good stuff. I'm just kidding. While taking too little can often be the cause, zero effect trips still occur even on higher dosages. I've had several, so don't just take more because I made a joke. Still, oftentimes, psychedelic experiences can be so deep that we find ourselves revisiting the same experience multiple times over many years, each time learning something new. A good psychedelic facilitator or psychotherapist with experience in psychedelics can help a lot with the nuances, questions, and difficulties that may arise in this process. I always recommend a combination of contemplation, meditation, journaling, and conversational sessions. Conversational sessions can be with a facilitator or therapist, but it can also be a good friend or partner, as long as they can listen and ask good questions. You may get to the point of giving concrete advice or opinions, but these are generally not the point of conversational sessions. It's kind of like the stereotype of girlfriends complaining about something and the boyfriend just wanting to fix it by telling her how to solve it. While the real issue at hand often is not even what she's talking about, but might be as simple as wanting someone to listen to her and ask questions, or as complex as subconsciously feeling that what caused the interaction she's complaining about is a pattern she's repeating from childhood that's been a constant problem in her life, causing a small interaction to have a seemingly exaggerated emotional response, and wanting to get to the bottom of this. Now, this is hard enough to decipher already, except we didn't land in stereotypical boyfriend-girlfriend drama land, but we have entered the psychedelic dimension, where your great ancestor grandma you never met before presented herself to you as a jaguar that was at first stalking you through a geometric jungle where every leaf you touched, through synesthesia, revealed a new emotion someone you were somehow connected to experienced. After which she tells you about the great emotional trauma your family line has endured in more cryptic and symbolic means than I care to elaborate on here. Finally telling you vaguely what your part to play in all this is. There's clearly a whole lot to unpack there. Even as someone just listening to that, any interpretation of that is so extremely subjective and colored by your own experience in life. Only the person receiving that message truly contains the context necessary from their life experience to decipher that message even anywhere somewhat accurately. That's why I tend to refrain from advising for as long as I can, and will ask questions to clarify as much as possible. Oftentimes, the process of asking questions can get the asker to answer the questions for themselves, and this is just so much more powerful. The most powerful answer you can give anyone to inspire action is their own answer. And as a psychedelic facilitator, I see it as part of my responsibility to keep you in your power. If that sounds good to you, I'm offering. We're taking a quick break for a blatant personal ad. I am now offering online psychedelic guidance and integration packages. So, whether you're a first-timer or an experienced explorer, need help preparing and planning for your first experience, or support integrating a really difficult one, you can get my assistance at any stage of your psychedelic path. You can find the information you need for this in the description of this video. Let's talk about the nuances of integration, starting with an interesting fact. Did you know that the best experiences can be just as hard to integrate as some of the worst experiences, as rare as they are? Now, no matter the experience, the first thing you want to do after any experience is ground yourself really, really well. Make sure you get some good sleep, talk to someone about your experience, do a body sensing meditation in combination with a rooting visualization meditation, swim in the ocean, walk barefoot, or spend time in nature. Really, anything that makes you feel grounded. There is no one best way to ground, apart from decomposing and merging back with the earth. But for the sake of your body, I would not recommend this. And for some reason, most people don't seem to like this one. I myself too prefer simply hugging a tree or the smell of freshly cut grass during a morning stroll. You take your pick. Now, another important thing that often comes up that is really important to cover is what I call the experience told me to insert thing X phenomena. For example,
greetings, human. I am a divine psychedelic entity. In order to reclaim your highest expression of self, you should run naked in the streets for the next 7 days. Only by doing this shall you be able to reclaim your natural divine freedom and highest expression of self.
No thanks. Nah. It's important that we thoroughly ground and contemplate the experience before we take any actions that we may regret later. However compelling the ideas may be that come up during the experience, if they're big, it's okay to take your time, plan them out, and reconsider them thoroughly.
Greetings, human. I'm a divine psychedelic entity, and it is imperative to the great plan that you like, subscribe, and comment below.
Shoot! Can't you see I'm trying to keep things grounded in here, damn it? I don't need any more psychedelics told me to do whatever shenanigans in here.
Bro, I'm just trying to help, bro.
I know, and I appreciate it, but I got this. Simply put, liking, subscribing, and commenting your thoughts below helps me out. Thank you.
The great plan!
Seriously, bro? You see, when you're high and in a good mood, everything sounds and feels pretty damn good. But if you were to sit you high and you sober together in the same room and tell them to do exactly the same thing, you can only imagine the two wildly different responses they would have.
You should run naked in the streets for the next 7 days.
So instead of taking what the experience tells you directly, you're often much better off looking deeper into it and asking yourself what this tells you about yourself. So for example, being told to run naked through the streets in order to reclaim your highest expression of self might mean that you've been repressing the artist within you, and you need to represent yourself more honestly in the way you create. So instead of running naked through the streets, you create a new painting that exposes the raw emotional nature of your trauma, bringing forth a much more vulnerable piece of yourself, and submit this piece to the public art gallery instead of the safer painting you were going to submit before. You can see how to someone this can be just as daring as actually running naked through the streets, but the results after interpreting the deeper meaning behind the messages is more connected to their personal journey. And while personally challenging, doesn't lead to a regrettable action, but to meaningful growth, and that is what we're really after here. The last nuance I want to talk about today is gaslighting yourself. Of course, not all experiences, but taking psychedelics can often be kind of like getting temporary superpowers. During the experience, you can gain any number of psychic powers, and you're so incredibly spiritually in touch with yourself and your dharma. And it's effortless to be the selfless, compassionate saint you know yourself to be and have always been. There's an entire other video's worth of things I could likely say about the come down and lingering effects after a really high high. But besides that, what I'm trying to get at here is that I've often caught myself judging myself and being disappointed in myself with my own actions, judging myself by a very high standard. It's important to be compassionate with yourself and understand that you're an angel trapped in a monkey's body. And more often than not, you're just a monkey. I mean, human. And part of why we choose to do this is because being a monkey can teach us a lot. We are not perfect by design, and while we should always strive to do the best that we can, we must understand that there is an ebb and flow to awareness and to be compassionate with ourselves when we mess up. There is no use judging your current self by the highest experience that you can remember of yourself. And while it is best to accept everything as is, sometimes we are just not in a state where we are able to do that. And instead of telling ourselves we are bad or we fall short because we are feeling anger, resentment, guilt, hate, or whatever it is, it's often better to accept that we are in that state rather than offer more resistance to that resistance. Ask yourself if you can do the spiritually correct thing right now. And if not, try to accept that you are not ready to do that in this moment and love yourself regardless. And with that, I leave you today.
Greetings, human. I'm a divine psychedelic entity, and it is imperative to the great plan that you like, subscribe, and comment below. Also, watch some more of these videos.
This again? Shoo! Don't do it because he told you to. Do it if you feel like it.